Welcome to another episode of The Echo with your host Apollo P. and
Kadiatu
and Jeffrey.
And we are here with a very special guest. He goes by the name Aaron, and he's well versed in the crypto area. And welcome to the show, Aaron.
Thank you you guys for having me on the Echo podcast. I appreciate that very much. Love what you guys do here.
All right. And so, like I said, you're well versed in the crypto area. We're going to get into that. We're going to share your knowledge with the folks that are listening, and we're going to get you to tap in with some of the topics that we have going on. So, how do we want to do this? We want to go, talk about Aaron a little bit, his knowledge in the crypto space, or touch on our topics, his opinion on stuff, and then jump back into Aaron's stuff. Like, how you want to do this?
Yeah, let's you know what? Like, let's get myself introduce. Get people to kind of know me, see what we're about.
Let's do that the proper way. All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna do the Don Cornelius intro.
All right, go ahead.
I'll do it later. But so like I mentioned when I introduced you, you said you're well versed in the crypto space. All right, so crypto, NFTs, and Web3. What? Webs? NFTs.
Web3, NFTs.
All right. So first off, let's talk about crypto, because I think that's one of the biggest things that people want to get into, people want to understand, and a lot of people are making money from it. But many people are very skeptical of crypto. First off, how'd you get into crypto?
Yeah.
Yeah, so ironically enough, I got into crypto, just like most people, friends and family is usually what it started off as. So around 2017, my girlfriend and I we went to her cousin's house basically, right? And they're from Quebec. And at that time, he was running a Bitcoin mining operation. And I was so intrigued by this because at first when they told me about cryptocurrency, they showed me how they used it and how they accessed it, and I was like, what is this magical internet money? I was like, this is insane. You know what I mean? They're showing me how it was used live. And once I got a little bit more familiar with that, and I saw how it changed their life, because imagine this individual is just just a regular, middle class person before, you know what I mean? And after selling that cryptocurrency mining facility in 2017, let's just say they're doing quite fine in the Bahamas and Barbados now. So they're doing quite well for themselves.
That's good.
So
it's crazy.
I saw stuff like this and I was like, all right, I seen how it could change people's lives. So what is this thing? You know what I mean? So that was my first introduction to it. And ironically enough, I could have gotten Bitcoin. I know many people have this thing in crypto. I call it crypto baptism, where everyone has that moment where they're like, I should have got in at this point, and then I watched it go up to here, and then I FOMO'd in, and then I finally went in. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what happened to me too. Yeah. So they told me about it. I saw around the time it was around $1,800 US dollars, so about just over 2.4 Canadian, $2,400 Canadian. But at the time, I didn't really understand it, right? And I thought it was like a stock, just like anyone else. And I was like, I can't afford $2,000. This is gonna clear my whole account. You know what I mean? And so I didn't really look too much at it. And then I remember I watched it, like I was saying, I watched it go from 1,800 US. Then 2 months later, I saw it go to 3,000. Then from there, I saw it go from 3,000 to 4. And then I'm like, all right. What's going on here? By the time I got to that point, I'm like, okay, I really got to jump in. You know what I mean? And I had that moment as well too. But the part that the part about it that I think it was most rewarding is because even though I got in at what's called the beginning of the bull run in that time, and although I did make a lot of money in the short term, but I actually lost a lot of money in the long term because I didn't understand what I was doing. And but what happens to most people is typically when they lose their money, they say, all right, this is a scam. I don't want no part to do with this. I got finesse or whatever, right? But what I did, I got humbled and I said, all right, you know what? Let me kind of understand this thing, you know what I mean? Because there was no reason for me to kind of jump in without kind of knowing what's going on. So I said, all right, I got humbled, let's learn. And that's kind of where my crypto journey began. I pretty much went down the metaphorical crypto rabbit hole from there, right? So this was like 2017. You know, I ended up losing majority of the money by mid 2018, and then from 2018 onward. Luckily enough, like, you know, I still kept skin in the game, and I started to research more. I started to watch more videos. I started to read more articles. I started to just really understand what was going on. And from there, I also started to understand our financial system as a whole, like how money works, modern monetary theory, how the banking system works, what is money in general, right?
Yeah.
Just understanding the actual concept of money, history. And I just went and did my 10,000 hours from there. So we're at the point now where, you know, we're about 4 years later from that point. I've been able to, you know, I guess become like a crypto educator in some sorts. And I work like full time in the space now. Like, you know, I've been doing that. I've worked with a lot of brands here in the crypto market, ranging from like, you know, the DeFi space to also CoinMarketCap, which is like the largest like cryptocurrency news source and data source. So from there, like, you know, thankfully enough, like, you know, I kept some skin in the game, did my 10,000 hours, and like just really got super involved in the space. And now I just look to share as much knowledge as I can, because I know what it feels like to be that person that there's so much thrown at you and you're like, whoa, like this is a lot. So I try my best to be like, you know, a resource, not really telling people what to do, but showing people, hey, this is, you know, what I learned, this is my experience, here's how you can take it, and here are some things that, like, you know, can help you along the way in your journey.
Right. Yeah, and you did say that there's a lot, and I guess as somebody, how do you get people to get started into that? Because I think one thing for sure, a big part of all this is financial literacy, and I feel like that's something that wasn't really taught in schools. And for someone like me, I look at all this and I'm like, whoa, all these numbers.
I'm starting to realize financial literacy is not that hard. People are stupid. But like, keep on going.
Excuse me?
Cut the camera.
No. I think you can expand on that, because
Yeah.
I think I kind of see where you're going with it. I wouldn't say that people are stupid.
Oh, I'm like, where do you see
I
it
would say
going?
that we're so miseducated, and we have so much people that act like they know what they're talking about. So then they appear as being stupid.
You see how he phrased it?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. I just take notes.
Hey, man,
That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm the guy that's I'm the guy that's going to do it for you, man. I'm going to do it for you.
Hey, trust me, I noticed, like, I'm kind of rough. I used to be rough around the edges.
Yeah,
You know
I'm going
what
to do
I
it,
mean?
man. But like, granted.
But I took the meat.
Yeah.
I took the meat.
Thank you. Aaron, reformed what I said, rebranded it.
Yeah.
Made it more palatable to the more people. But like, let's go back to what Jeff said, because he did say this financial literacy isn't taught. All right, let's
Let's dive
Yeah,
into
yeah,
it.
yeah.
unpack that.
Continue
Let's
to-
unpack
Well,
that.
I just
what
wanted to
you
know
mean.
because, like, I don't know where to start, literally, because I just feel like I am, quite frankly, kind of dumb when it comes to all this. And
Exactly
I wanna
what I
understand-
said.
Well, no, I just didn't want you to say it.
Exactly
I
what
didn't
I
want
said.
him to say it. I can
Thank you
admit
for
it.
proving my point.
Listen,
Jeff, you idiot.
Let Jeff continue. Let Jeff continue.
it is important to understand financial literacy and
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
going on, and I feel like I don't even know some of the most basic concepts.
Yes.
So how do you get started in all this, and then where does crypto fit in that timeline?
Okay, so in order to be essentially financially literate, I recommend this book to everyone. Honestly speaking, this book easily changed my life. Easily, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
It sounds
book.
corny. A lot of people in you know the finance bros and all of that stuff, they love to talk about that book. But when I say it's a fundament. I feel like that's a financial literacy and entrepreneurship Bible, right? If you want to understand the basics of financial literacy, all it comes down to is essentially understanding an income statement and a balance sheet. All an income statement and a balance sheet is pretty much like your balance sheet is pretty much your assets and your liabilities. Assets, all there simply are, assets provide you income, right? Simple as that. Anything could be made an asset. You know, you create a business, that's an asset. You invest in a stock, that's an asset. You know, you have a social media, you make sales from it, that's an asset,
Exactly.
right? But what happens is a lot of people in our society, they get caught up in liabilities, right? So
Buying a car.
things that take away
yeah.
money every month, and it's a monthly obligation to pay. So it's something that takes money away from you, and you have a monthly obligation to pay. So this includes taking on car loans,
Financing.
rent is I consider it an expense or liability. Mortgaging your own house, that's a liability.
Yeah.
So a house is an asset, but it's not your asset. It's the bank's asset until you pay it off.
Yeah,
But
foreclosures.
many people aren't taught that, right?
It's real. Yeah.
So it's just it breaks down assets, liabilities, also income statements and balance sheets, and really teaches people how to understand how to manage those things. Because once you understand those two concepts, you just look at everything in our economy as it's either a plus or a negative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once you understand how to balance that, then that's all that matters, right? So once you get to that point, I think that's the basis, and then expanding on from there with the different concepts, whether it be stocks, crypto, real estate, all of that stuff, it would go from there.
If you're an accountant, you would know this as well.
Oh, for sure.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Taking me back to accounting days.
Yeah,
saying.
100%.
That's what I'm saying. So you want to learn
It's
basic
true.
financial literacy, you go take an accounting class.
Yeah, to take that accounting class. There's and if you don't want to re-enroll back in school, because I know some of us hate school. I hate school too. What you can do is there's plenty of games that kind of talk about that topic. So you can honestly, it sounds corny enough, but Monopoly is one of the best ways to learn financial literacy.
Good point, actually,
I'm
yeah.
being so serious. Monopoly is a great way to understand, because it shows you, okay, how do you make more money in Monopoly? You buy property and then you build houses on it, right? And then it causes people to pay rent. It's the concept of you're building an asset that the other players have to pay you for.
Yeah.
So there's games like that, and also, what's the board game called? I can't remember what this guy's board game is called. It's the same guy, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They have it's called the Cash Flow board game. That's what it's called. So that's another way to learn as well too. They have free,
quadrants?
yeah, Cash Flow Quadrant. That's another book. After you take care of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, definitely recommend Cash Flow Quadrant. But yeah, everything in baby steps. You know what I mean? We can't jump from everyone wants to go to point D, but you have to start at point A, right? So
Start from the basics.
start from the
Exactly.
basics.
Selling drugs is a great way to find out about finances, get co-signment, getting consignment, not getting consignment.
Honestly, though.
Hey,
honestly,
they're
yes.
businessmen.
However,
saying.
I wouldn't promote it.
I wouldn't promote it, but for the people that I know that I'm telling them to get out the game, I'm like, yo, you're already a businessman.
So smart,
you don't
yeah.
even take
I
it in.
agree.
You employ
Yeah.
people. You have to get product. You have to manage people. You have to make sure
Understand
people are
gains
showing.
and losses. Yeah.
Right.
It's
You know?
true.
You got to pay your employees.
Exactly. And then they say
You're just doing it illegally.
You lose money having inventory, so you really want to, flood the
it
streets
out.
fast as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, we're not endorsing the activity. We're just
Not do that. You
You
should
shouldn't-
take those qualities and skills and implement them into something
You got
legal.
it.
Yes,
Just saying.
yes.
You got it.
Don't
Right.
listen to you.
Well, I've never endorsed selling drugs ever.
I'm so
I'm
tired.
just saying, if you do it, you got the
You got
basic
the
concept.
skills. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure,
I'm saying it's all kind of checks and balances, right?
For sure.
All right, so great to learn about your journey and you're into the space of crypto and how that expanded your knowledge on finances in general. But for the people who you see making money off of crypto and other people making money off of crypto or inside that space and promoting that space heavily, but they look at you and say, "Hey, Aaron, man, I see you making money off of this, this imaginary money. I don't even trust it too tough because crypto's not backed by anything." What do you have to say about people who say crypto is just a volatile space to be in? People can't really say it's really backed by anything for it
It's
to
a
be
gamble.
legitimate to them, because a lot of banks aren't taking it legitimate at the moment. What do you have to say to them?
That's perfect. No, literally, the core concept. I think the core concept of why people don't understand cryptocurrency is because we haven't understood the concept of centralization versus decentralization.
Exactly.
We have been brought up and basically grown in this system where we're all fed through centralized sources. So in order to understand the importance of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, because this whole thing with crypto, there's a whole bunch of different cryptos. but not all of them are gonna survive, right? But the ones that I personally, like I said, I personally think are gonna survive the test of time. Let's just keep it simple. Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? Those are I 99.99% sure they're gonna be here to last, right? And the reason why those concepts are gonna be here to last is because they are focused on decentralization, meaning that not one entity or source can manipulate the entire system. Right now, in our current banking system, our banking system is manipulated through central banks. And if you don't understand central banks, it's pretty much they're the monetary wing of our government. Yes, they're not technically a part of our government, but they are, because our government is essentially commissioning them to create more money in a sense of like this. So I'm trying to find the best way to simplify it, but pretty much the reason why I and many others see value in Bitcoin and Ethereum is because if anything were to go wrong with the system, it takes multiple points of failure for it to occur. Banks get hacked all the time, but in order to hack the crypto network, you have to hack someone you have to hack people all across the world all at the same time. How feasible is that, right? Not very feasible. Versus if it's a bank, it just takes one centralized, coordinated effort, and it happens all the time. It's just not reported, right? But with cryptocurrency, we see a lot of those scenarios being reported because it's a threat to the banking system. Because with Ethereum, which has a concept called DeFi, which is decentralized finance, which I'll break down a little bit later on, but I just wanted to answer your question first. DeFi allows us to perform banking activities without the need for a bank. Like right now, like if I wanted to, I could go on a source based on Ethereum called Aave, and I can take out a loan right now without the use of a bank. I could go and lend money without the need for a bank, without the need to deposit in a bank. And the main issue is that, well, when we deposit our money in the bank, the bankers are giving us like 0.03% return on our money.
Banks are trash.
And they're trash. And on top of that, they legally own our money when we put it in the bank. So it's not your money when you put it in the bank, right? But with things like Ethereum, I can now actually own my money and have my money work for me. Instead of giving the bank interest, instead of having them take my money and then give it to you so you could buy a house, and then I get 0.3%, and then they get like 15%. Now I can get the 15% for the money that was loaned, because I'm the one that loaned the money, and then someone else puts up the collateral, and so forth and so forth. So just kind of, I'm trying to keep it very simple there, but I think the main thing for understanding the value behind cryptocurrency is understanding centralized banking, decentralization, DeFi, and also modern monetary theory, which to keep it quite short, long story short, our monetary's value is losing value at the moment. So you notice how like gas prices and stuff are going up, groceries are going up, and we think
that's just a part of inflation, no?
Inflation, right? But you want to know how inflation occurs? It's because our monetary supply, so our Canadian dollar, they're increasing the supply of the Canadian dollar by metaphorically printing more money. So like when they say, oh, we're giving out $1 trillion in stimulus, whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's adding more money to the supply without adding any economic value. And when I say economic value, I mean no goods or services were produced.
So you could argue and say that they do the same thing. I forget which crypto coin does this. I don't know if it's XRP or another one, but they kind of continue to print, not print, but make more coins available. So it doesn't.
Oh, Dogecoin.
Yeah, think about Dogecoin.
Dogecoin.
Right. So so like stuff like that. So the same concept is still happening in the crypto world, and it's also not allowing the value of the coin to go up. But also, with that being said, like I mentioned when I was first asked you, like the crypto space is so volatile. Like things can go up and down, and over the summertime, people got hurt.
People were hurting.
A lot of pockets got hurt. Yo, I was one of those people. My pockets got hurt, and I was like, yo, crypto, man. This shit, I am out, man. I went back to the the old trusty. I went back to the stock system. I was like, crypto. Let me hold on to something steady. You know, it's like crypto is just that white girl you meet in high school. You don't want to. That shit's spicy. That shit's spicy, but like, hey,
you can't. It's spicy, but you can't wife it.
Can't wife it. You feel me? So I went back to the stock.
Another issue. That's a whole other topic.
I probably should have never said a white girl. I should probably should have never said a white girl.
That's a whole other topic to unpack.
I should have tried.
Save yourself.
Yo, oh man, but I totally understand where you're coming from, and the reason why cryptocurrency is so volatile is, think about it like this: only 0.8% of the world uses cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
That's less than I think it's like just over, now it's just over 600 million people.
Mm-hmm.
So only 600 million people in the world are using it. Obviously, we're in an early standpoint. There's going to be volatility. But the thing is, people think volatility is a problem. Volatility just represents opportunity. Because the same way it can go down like that, how else do you get those insane rises? Yeah. That's volatility.
So it's
right?
a long-term game.
I mean, it sounds
exactly.
To be honest, it sounds good, but like at the same time, steady money, slow, steady money is also a secure money as well.
100%. But the thing is, in order to, this is why it's important in this space to understand what projects you're getting behind, because what happens is, in a lot of scenarios with cryptocurrency, in May we saw what ended up happening, and I've always joked around, and I've said this to people in this space, and they always get offended because for a lack of a better word, honestly, I'm going to be totally honest. Cryptocurrency right now, it's the main people that are in it are nerds, like, let's be honest. Like, and a lot of these nerds are on a revenge tour. You know what I mean? Like,
revenge of the nerds.
It's a revenge of the nerds. Like, you know what I mean? So you see people on Twitter just going, ha 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 ha, I told you, all this stuff, because they had more time to understand what's going on. And we're at a point in cryptocurrency where we were in the early stages of the internet. So like, imagine being in the early stages of the internet in the 1980s and 90s.
It bust. But the internet hit the bubble and it bust. And a lot of people were out of a job. A lot of people were broke. And that shit took a while for it to get back to where we're at right now.
Exactly. But that was based off of too much speculation. Yeah. But that can happen in any industry. And it's happening in this industry the same way it happened in the railroad industry in the 1900s. So in the 1900s, there was also a similar case when they started building out railroads, and everyone's like, I'm starting a railroad company. But there wasn't that use case for railroads yet. Yeah. So what happened to the other extra railroad companies? Boom and bust, right? But then what happened? There's certain ones that survive. Bombardier, CN. I don't know the other ones. I'm just naming them off the top of my head. But there's always going to be survivors, and we're at an early point in the game, and that's why it's important to understand the landscape so that you can position yourself to be in fundamentally good projects. So like, when people are saying like, the big thing was chasing meme coins. Yeah, you can make money in a meme coin, but it's a casino. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In casinos, people win big, but they lose big, right? But if you were to take a more savvy approach and put your eggs into a basket that has more validity, more trust into it, like Bitcoin or Ethereum. If you kept your money in it, you wouldn't have lost money. Because think about it right now. People were saying in that same time frame when a lot of people lost money in crypto, when Bitcoin fell from 63,000 to 33,000, guess where Bitcoin is right back at right now? It's at 62,000.
Yeah, but
in the 3-month time frame.
To invest in Bitcoin now, don't you have to have like big money?
That's like me.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question.
That's like me investing into the Dow Jones, bro. I don't got it.
Yeah. I was about to say.
Okay. I like that comparison. Yeah. But Jeff, you're saying something?
I was just gonna ask, because some people might perceive cryptocurrency as a thing for the privileged, because of the fact that, like, I feel like the world is moving faster and faster, and things are changing. I heard something about how like paper bills are going to be soon extinct and stuff. And as things moving fast, is this just another thing to make it leave more
Cash
people
is not
behind?
king.
Yes and no. So the reason why I say yes and no, so I'll say the reason why I say yes first is because think about it like this. We're already doing that. We're in a world now where everything's going digital. We're using QR codes where if you don't have a smartphone, you access a menu. Like there's no like stuff like that. Like we're already entering that world, and we're entering that space where smartphones are relatively cheap now, where you like we're majority of the world that has access to some sort of internet connection they have access to smartphones. It might not be the latest iPhone or the latest Samsung Galaxy or whatever,
But
right?
some sort of smartphone.
But like, yeah, you could still get access to a smartphone that has that some sort of functionality. But the thing is, there's obviously going to be people who don't adopt those things. So that's where I say, yes, it will eventually leave some people behind. But that's the same case if they remove cash. If they remove cash, that's going to leave so many people behind. You know what I mean? But like the reason why I say no is because with cryptocurrency, this is the first time in history where the average person has the chance to front run big investors into a market. So if it was like a stock, right? So let's look at the Coinbase stock, for example, right? That stock went through all of its investors and then it hit the public. Versus like with Bitcoin, you could just sign up for an app and then buy Bitcoin right now. But the other companies, like big companies, they can't buy it yet because it's not legal for them to buy it yet. You know what I mean? But they are looking at it, so you have a chance to get in before them.
All right. Can you just go over what NFTs are? Because I think a lot of people are kind of like confused about that.
Sure.
Just give us a brief rundown of what NFTs stand.
Yeah, so I'll give a brief rundown. So all NFTs is right now we think they're like pictures and stuff like that, but what they really are at its core, it's a specialized file format on the blockchain. So think about it like this. So you know how on social media, a bunch of people make fake accounts on like celebrities, and they give celebrities the blue check marks, right? That's what an NFT is, but on the blockchain. So it's an official, verified
To show
proof.
what's legit or not.
Yes, a verifiable proof of ownership that's on the blockchain. So there's this running meme where people say, why would I buy an NFT if I can just hit Control Save and I have your stuff? Well, the people in the community don't care about that because they know you have a fake. The same way, like if I was rocking like fake J's, we'd all look at it, we'd be like, oh shoot, yo, those are some fake J's, fam. Like you're looking waste right now. You know what I mean? Would roast someone who's wearing fake kicks, right? So that's the same thing with NFTs. If it's not real and it's in the community, we're like, yo, you're a buster, bro. Like you don't have the real thing. But it's not just limited to just pictures. Like NFTs are. I think we're gonna enter a world in the next 15 years where we're gonna tokenize everything. So NFTs allow for people to transfer value. So it allows for people to transfer value out of these different file formats, whether it's a picture, a video, a song, and even video games. Like video games, they're already doing NFTs if you really think about it. You know when you buy like a skin on like Fortnite, but when you stop playing Fortnite, you can't really do anything with it, right? But imagine if they made that an NFT. Now, if I stop playing Fortnite, I could go to someone and say, yo, you want to buy my John Wick skin? And they'll be like, hell yeah. And then they would buy your John Wick skin off of you, and then you get real value, and the other person gets the skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the first example of NFT for me was when Tory Lanez did that for his album. And I was wondering what that was about because he also got like 1 million. So could you explain that a little bit and why he decided to do that? Yeah,
so that was a great opportunity for him because we're entering a space where in the music space specifically, and this is where I think between video games and music, I think these are going to be the two biggest use cases for popularizing NFTs because NFTs represent an ownership revolution, right? So what's the big issue in the music industry? People don't own their masters. People don't own their content. They don't own anything, right? But with NFTs, you own your content, you own your intellectual property, and now every time your intellectual property is shared or resold, you get a percentage of that. So imagine every single time I flipped, let's say I bought an iPhone, right? I bought an iPhone for $1,000 and then, someone else flipped it for, let's say it went up in value for whatever reason. Let's say someone flipped it for $10K, right? Because I was the original owner of the iPhone, I get a percentage of that next sale. So even though that person sold it for $10K, they get $9K, I get $1K because it was my IP. So that's the reason why Tory Lanez did it, because he's one of the few independent artists, and the other artists, they're all hating on him because they can't do it. You know what I mean? So they're hating.
I guess the one thing with music though is that the fact that a lot of artists, their first amount of sales are within the first week of their release of the record. So when it comes to NFT, it's kind of hard to believe that how can someone who do music really make money off of people selling their music when a music catalog is really only appreciated within the first 3 weeks, and someone doesn't really necessarily see the value of flipping that album that came out that particular week to someone else, unless it was something like, let's say when Wu-Tang put out that special album and Martin Shkreli or whatever his name, he bought it for that $1 million or $4 million. That's something where if it was inside the NFT world, that would make more sense for an artist. But when Toriele's case is, he was able to pre-sell the album like up to almost close to close to $1 million, then he was able to make money off of that. But to say that 1 million people are going to resell that album down the line off of NFT, I don't necessarily see it. I think he swindled his fans 100%, respectfully. But since we're on the topic, of music, that kind of just segues into our next topic.
For sure.
Let's talk about NorthSideBenji.
Yes. So this was the highly anticipated album from somebody who a lot of people from this area consider to be the next.
He's from Brampton, right?
Is he?
Yeah, that's why everybody was
Yes, sir.
Brampton,
Say
stand
word. Yeah, he's from the ends. Say less.
From the ends. Man, I say he went to EC. If you're from the ends, you know what I'm talking about.
What's EC?
If you're from the ends, you know.
You know what he's talking about.
If you're from the ends, you know what I'm talking
I'm
about.
not from those ends.
Yes, sir.
So the project is called the Extravagant Collection, and I was wondering if you guys listened to it. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't get to listen to it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't get to listen to it.
No, I thought it was pretty good. Like the first time I heard of NorthSideBenji was actually when I heard his freestyle for
Fire in the
Fire in the
Booth.
Booth. Yeah, I was like, oh, this guy's actually like really good. So
The best rapper coming out of the city. Bar none.
Shout out to Brampton. Okay.
Bar none. Bar
No,
none.
it was good though. I enjoyed it. Top to bottom, I enjoyed it.
Did you listen?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to listen to it yet. I've kept up with his older material, but I haven't gotten the chance to check out his new material yet.
Yeah, so you mentioned that he's the biggest artist to come out of this.
I never said bigger.
Sorry,
I said
he's
the
going to be. He's going to be.
I said the best.
He's going to be the
Don't
best.
do that.
He's the best coming out of the city.
Oh, okay.
Bar none.
Why do you think that?
Because his flow, his delivery, his mic control, his presence when he drops an album, drops a single, it just sounds very, very cohesive, very well put together, quality. That's why he doesn't drop that much music over a course of like.
When he does,
it's quality,
high quality.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Quality
so
over quantity.
You could compare it to any other person that is coming out of the Toronto or the GTA, and you could go like, all right, NorthSideBenji than that better than that person, 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 that person.
Well, I think this is a perfect way to segue to just I guess we were having a discussion earlier about like the music scene in Toronto and where he fits in that. Is he a representative of like the sound in the city or no? He's unique.
Whatever you think the Toronto sound is, NorthSideBenji is not
that.
It's not that.
It's not.
It's not
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Like Toronto right now, we're in a weird phase where I would say like everyone equates the Toronto sound with like our Toronto drill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we have Toronto drill, you know what I mean? But like we don't classify it as such.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is drill music if you take it in, right? But the thing is like what I noticed out of the artists from the the GTA and everything, it's just like it's people trying to find elements of that and spin it and make it their own. You know what I mean? So I think we're in a great time of like creativity because everyone wants to get away from what everyone perceives as the norm now.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
I agree.
So are we still trying to find an identity? Like, are we still trying to
Like,
find?
what is our sound?
Yeah, because like I like to when I look at music, you think of Atlanta having their own sound and other cities having their own sound. Like, does Toronto or do we even need a sound? I guess.
I think we do have our own sound. I think we have our own where our music is only palatable to like people that live here, across Canada and the UK. In terms of like when you try to think of like bigger, because all artists that are from here want to make music, they want to be worldwide, and the best place to be worldwide is in America.
So they go there.
Exactly, but like for us to transition over there, you have to be palatable to the American ear. So if you make songs like
The Smiley track, where everybody came from him.
people came from him. You want to say say any other Toronto rapper that
Pressa.
I mean, he's so
We'll see. I don't know. I don't think he's really like making waves at the U.S. market like that. I think him dating Chloe Ray boosted his career by tenfold.
Yeah.
So whether it was for love or business, smart move.
Exactly. So it's like because the thing is, we have our own slang, right? And people, as an American, you got to think as an American as your market, right? I don't want to get too much into marketing, but you guys like the Americans don't necessarily. They have like there's 50 states. They all have their own dialogue and lingo and slang and everything. Like you got to understand, I got to go through 50 states before I go over to a different country and go like I want to learn their slang now.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So, you know, you have to whatever as us Canadians, we have to make music that's palatable not only to people over here but people in America as well and people to the UK. But if you're trying to do the straight Toronto sound, obviously you could be able to click up. You can make a nice songs with Gigs, Skepta. Yeah. You could be big out in the UK, but like fans in the UK don't even want to be big out there. They want to be out in the
They want to be in the US
you know
too.
So nobody's trying to go to the States.
Exactly, because that's the biggest market.
So how do you make it more palatable? Is it like dropping the slang, or is it
You sound American. That's what
sound American.
That's what
I would even call it sounding American. I would put it in a sense of like just like it's usually like song structure. Like I would say Toronto, like I guess our unique sound is like a blend of 808s, R&B, and like, you know, some and obviously mix it. I don't want to say it's Drake, but it's just like
A mix of Drake?
Yeah, it's just being versatile because like he kind of popularized, you know, singing and rapping. You know what I mean?
Drake sounds American though.
I think it's
That's true. He is a chameleon. He can sound American. He can
That's
sound like
true.
he's from UK. His Spanish was bad. Jamaican was bad, but it was
Arabic
passable.
was worse.
Arabic, oh
Drizzy
gosh,
Marley?
they were just amped to let him speak Arabic.
you were-
So I like that was bad.
heard
fucking with Habibi Drake?
No,
Nah. Habibi Drake and South London Drake was not my favorite Drake.
Oh no, South London was fire.
They were not my favorite Drakes.
Unknown D? You didn't want one Drake like that?
Like, man, honestly, I believe Drake's though like would easily like one of the greatest artists of our generation. I just want someone to challenge him. I'm tired of him not trying. I'm tired of this guy
he's not living
trying.
up to his potential.
Yeah, you can tell he's not trying, but it's still good. Like that's the crazy part. So imagine like it's like Steph Curry. He's in his he's in his shorts. He doesn't even take off his track pants. He's just putting up like half court shots. Oh yeah, like you know what I mean.
Like,
But they're going in. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're going in, but it's not like Steph
Not
Curry
putting
when
it
he's
together.
cooking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like-
motivation, I think, is a lot what he's lacking. But I think one of the things you were talking about in terms of people trying to, like, I guess, mimic what Drake is doing is kind of like, I think, more production choices. I
Yeah.
think a lot of the Toronto sound that I've listened to is a lot of atmospheric and, you know.
Very get you
like,
in the
you feel like you're
zone.
going on space or something, you know?
Yeah.
But
but to get back to NorthSideBenji though, like he makes what's that? I want to use that word. He makes big sounding records, like 30,000 feet. 30,000 feet up.
That was a good one. too.
That shit sounds
Yeah.
big. It sounds
Yeah.
well produced, well put together. I'm gonna come back next week and I'm gonna talk about NorthSideBenji after I listen to the extravagant because he sounds rich on there though. He sounds like a skinny Rick Ross.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna take
Skinny
it in.
Rick Ross.
Yeah,
Rick Ross.
you got to give it at least 2-3 playthroughs before you give a full eval. You know.
Exactly. Well,
Sure.
I'm saying he comes off like a skinny Rick Ross because Rick Ross does the boss talk, the expensive talk.
That's true.
You gotta like that. But we also have more other artists coming out of Toronto that are making sounds. I think we make more sounds for our singing than we make for our rapping.
That's true.
100%.
We have RealestK who went viral. He had a song that came out 2 weeks ago. What's it called? Welcome.
Wait for me. Yes.
Wait for me.
All I know is that it was on TikTok.
Yeah.
That
Wait.
went first.
So it has like 2 million views or a little over 2 million views.
Yeah, it went
on,
nuts. It went nuts. The video went nuts
Yeah.
on YouTube and everything too.
And so people are looking at that and going like, oh, who's this guy? What's he about? The music that he's making? Are you guys listening to any of his other tracks or just Wait on Me? Or what's your
Nope.
thoughts on him?
Yeah, I went through all of his stuff, and honestly, this is pretty legit. Like I'm excited to
He's
see.
17 years old.
Oh, so he's
a
young.
young-
Oh man. So yeah, like this guy has tons of potential. I just hope that he doesn't get swallowed up by labels and just understand that he's built something on TikTok. You don't need a label, fam. Like you went viral on TikTok. Just go the independent route.
Yeah.
Drop your music. Work with people because like this guy has talent. You know what I mean? And I don't want to see him become another sweatshop worker. I'll put it like that. I actually believe in this guy's talent, and I feel like if he signs to someone, he's in the sweatshop. He's in the sweatshop.
Way to put
He's
it.
just a feature man. That's about it. But I think if he goes that route, goes the more independent route, I think he can really like be something out of here because he has fans now. He has fans now. You should peep the support. He has
I
fans.
find that a lot of when singers kind of blow up or they get like a nice buzz, they tend to end up going super mysterious and kind of like taking a break and then trying to come back and revitalize what they have. I don't know why, but that seems to be like the norm for a lot of people, especially coming out of like Toronto and stuff like that. They kind of go, they got a buzz, they got a little spark going on. The music is sounding fire, and then it's like, okay, maybe they dropped the project sounding good, but the follow-up is just not there. It take about a year, 2 years, and then, those are very critical time in the artist's career to kind of like capitalize off that hype, and they kind of like, drop the ball a little bit, and end up, being, I guess, a shell of themselves when they come back, So let's see what happens to RealestK over time.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay, so K Showtime. We talked about him like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he was posted with Drake at the Raptors game,
Yeah.
courtside. This man's living his best life already. I'm
so
here for it.
You saw the video that it was going viral.
The 2-on-2.
The 2-on-2, yeah.
versus K
Yeah.
Showtime.
Yeah, that's a big move because especially on the YouTube community. Again, we talked about it last week, but like the one-on-ones or the 2-on-2s on YouTube are going crazy. It's
Yeah.
actually like people who don't make the NBA still have a chance to monetize their basketball skills, and it's really great to see because and this Drake co-signing K Showtime that legitimizes him in that industry. People like Flight Reacts, Cash Nasty, all of them. That community, there's so much potential, and he's only going to blow up from here. So good on him.
Yeah.
That's facts, and he's young too. Like, man, like honestly, like I just appreciate because like he puts out entertaining content. I'm not gonna lie, I watch his stuff and I'm just there laughing. I'm just like, yo, this kid is wilding. Like, yo, like he's wild.
They be
But he's a hooper though. So I'm excited to see what comes out of it. You know what I mean? We're gonna see him on Balla's Life a little bit more, House of Highlights more. So it's gonna be fun stuff.
You think Drake could ball though?
He got some shots. No, I was watching the whole thing. This guy can shoot.
Drake?
Yeah, he can shoot. He has all the time in the world. He's got these trainers and
All the time. He's supposed to be making music. But
Yeah.
he had all the time in the world.
He's enjoying life.
Where he lives, like
he has a whole
Exactly.
gym.
Yeah. Drake is running
For
side
whole
missions
gym.
at this point. So
Yeah, but like I think that was really cool because Drake has never like he's collaborated with YouTubers before. He collaborated with 4Y'all, and to collaborate with K Showtime, it just shows that he's very attentive with the talent.
he's in the scene. He's in the scene
But
big time.
we always knew that about Drake.
Yeah.
Also, if you're watching it, it's Drake's birthday today. He turned big
Happy
35.
Big 35.
Big.
You know?
Jeez, he's 35. That's crazy.
Time flies.
That's old. Yeah. Time flies.
Time flies. Oh, no pun intended. I did.
Said he co-signed K Showtime because he was monetizing his time and like showing kids that they can do stuff with their time that's legal.
Yeah, and I think that's what I appreciated about it most.
Exactly. K Showtime is not rapping, and he can't rap. So I really appreciate that.
He even said though that he doesn't even care about ball. Like it just happened that the video blew up and like now that's his route. But
Yeah.
he's not like he doesn't really care. But
He's gonna drop it then. He's gonna eventually drop it.
I don't think he's gonna drop it.
Yeah.
Not right now because of the fact that like his basketball team. So there's this whole because of that big video with Ken Wilder.
Yeah.
There's this whole competition between Canada and U.S. A lot of these U.S. YouTubers are watching. They're like, oh, I didn't even know. I think for example, Cash Nasty was watching the video. He's like, I didn't even know there were black people in Canada, and he was freaking out like.
Yeah. No, that's legit though. Like, yo, sometimes I go to my cousins in the States and they say that. They're like, yo, y'all got black people in Canada?
Yeah, and it
Y'all
was,
got Canada?
he didn't know there was a hood.
Like, what?
No, they really
no.
do.
Yeah,
They
like
really
I
do.
said, Drake sounds like
Yeah.
Yeah, but those videos, I don't know if you watched the other like games that he plays. They're intense as. So his whole team, his whole squad is now trying to challenge the best American basketball players.
But you know, funny enough,
thing.
his videos kind of represent like, yo, how ball is really like.
Yeah.
Mans really do get like that intense.
Like,
in real life.
like,
Yo, like it really be like that.
They're disrespectful. They're touching each other's heads. They're trying to fight. It's
That's
crazy.
how it really is.
But that's how it is. But
It
like,
really is like that.
it's so funny because it's like. It's funny because we're seeing it because like in real life, in the same way what he's doing his video, he knows who he can try. Because there's certain people you won't try that with, you know what I mean? But it's all entertaining. You know what I mean? Because it goes on. That's like part of the fun. You know what I mean? In sports, you know, taunting, having fun with your opponent. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, everyone's hailing each other up. Everyone's just, it's all good game at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But that's what I really like about it. You know what I mean? It's just really promoting that good energy at the end of the day.
All right. So like FaceTime. I mean, not FaceTime.
Facebook?
Whoa.
Facebook.
All right. So Facebook's rebranding.
Yeah. What the hell is
Interesting.
that all about?
Man, Facebook rebranding. So Facebook, like,
So confused.
it's so cool to see them do that because, like, honestly speaking, that's just really them telling us they're on a new level. Like
time to level up.
they're doing like what Google did, because technically Google, they did the same thing years ago, but it was kind of like swept under the rug. So Google is actually, they rebranded and they're owned by Alphabet, but it's still Google. And that's the same thing Facebook's going for, because if you really think about it, Google had the same issue where they have the search engine, they have YouTube, they have all their other service, their SEO services, the webmaster, all these different products. So I guess for them, it became kind of difficult to kind of like segment all these different products and element of their business. So it made it easier to, hey, let's create a parent company. And then from the parent company, we have, sister company, brother company here. And that's kind of like the same thing Facebook's doing. Because think about Facebook, they own Instagram, they own WhatsApp, they own Snapchat. I can't remember, what's another one they own? I think that's about it. Oh, and they just bought Oculus Rift, which is a VR company, and that's kind of why they're putting their money in the metaverse coming up next too.
They got their stronghold on like all the top social media apps. Like Facebook is stronghold, Instagram is stronghold, and then WhatsApp is strong, and then Snapchat.
Is anyone still using Snapchat?
In the UK, they are. Come on,
You
fam.
use that?
People are still
Come
using
on.
Snapchat.
People still using it?
Especially the
At this big age?
You don't know, you never
Snap
know.
streaks
Hey man, those streaks be going hard for them.
It's the streets.
It's the streaks, my boy.
People
Honestly,
take the streaks seriously.
no, real talks. The only people I've seen actively use Snapchat are like drug dealers and thoughts, male and female. So
That's in the UK.
So you
Premium
can go
Snapchat.
on it.
People Snapchat? Nah. People should. That's
That's
dead.
still a thing.
Dead. That's dead.
That's still a thing.
That's dead. You got there's OnlyFans. All right. So big old. You know what? Let's talk about the Doug Ford. Let's talk Donald Trump of the North. Doug Ford, my guy. This is not my guy because. But like, sorry. So he said some comments over the last few days that really, was really spicy and got under a lot of, Canadian skin. All right. So I'm gonna go over to the producer. Can you reiterate what he said back to me, producer?
Yeah, he made a comment about immigrants.
He made a comment about immigrants.
In a nutshell, he just said, you can't come here and do nothing. You have to work.
In a nutshell, Doug Ford said that, if you're an immigrant, you want to come over to the land of milk and honey, you want to, plant your feet on good soil, you got to work, my boy.
No, granted, what he said, okay, cool. It's just the way he said it. Like, there was no reason he should have came off that, like, hostile.
Asked to apologize and he didn't.
Yeah, he said
Okay.
no. Yeah, he said
I
no.
think
I respect it even more.
I respect it.
I respect it.
I think the problem with that statement is the association that everyone who is coming to this country is doing nothing.
He never said that.
That is the statement. That is what
He
people are
just
getting
said,
at.
you come into this land
No,
and
you
milk
can't.
and honey, you better work, my boy.
No, it's association, because then that just continues the rhetoric that these people are lazy when they're
Yeah.
not.
Which people are lazy?
There are the immigrants.
It continues
listen.
that
Yo, you know,
Okay,
there's
let's
a fleet,
let
there's
Jeff
a
go.
fleet,
Let me go.
a rainbow of
Keep it interesting.
immigrants,
First of all,
immigrants coming into the
are
country.
you not a son?
Who's lazy?
Are you not a son of an immigrant?
Yes, my mom worked her ass off. So she does exactly what Doug Ford said. She came here and worked, my boy.
Let me explain something. First of all, there are a lot of barriers that people
I was
have
just
when they
about to
come
say,
here.
yeah.
If people are fleeing from conflict of war, they're probably stressed out. They're probably f***ed in the head from all the trauma.
Hey,
No,
yo,
that's
he
legit.
said that.
No,
No,
that's true.
No, that's legit.
true.
It's true,
Yeah.
though.
That's legit.
They're f***ed because they've seen some f***ed up shit. They're
Yeah,
have
they're
their
traumatized.
families.
Yeah,
They're
they're
traumatized.
yeah.
Probably just too bluntly, but still, that's the truth. And then there's the other barrier that people go through is the language barrier. People coming in, they're probably still trying to adjust to the society. They have pressures. They're trying to assimilate to this culture. They need to learn the language.
Hey man, I see. No disrespect, but
No disrespect, don't lie.
I see mad Chinese people. I see mad Indian people, Italian people. Don't know how to speak a lick of English. They working their ass off, my boy. So assimilation. You not working hard enough.
I kind of agree with that sentiment, just because it's just like when you really take it in, like you're exactly right. And what you're saying, you know, people are coming from like harsh situations. You know, they're seeing things we can't even imagine. Like we have it so. Like this goes into another topic, but we have it so easy in Canada. You know what I mean? We have it so easy, and this is why, you know, when I don't care for. I'm not trying to defend any sort of way, but when people go out of their way to say, you know, Canada's a terrible place or Western civilization is a terrible place, right? It's really upsetting, because then you say, okay, why do all these people want to flee where they're at to come here?
Exactly.
And all he's saying, because think about it like this. All he's saying like this, if you're fleeing a bad situation, right? He's not saying that you can't take the time. He did not say that you can't take the time, get yourself set up, all that stuff, and you know, and get your situation going. He just said, all right, if you're coming here, you're more than welcome. But if you're coming, you gotta put in work.
But that's
You
not
got
the
to
energy
put in
of
work.
the
That's not what
That's
he's
not
trying
the
to say,
work
though.
time.
He
said.
No,
But here's that's
agenda.
No. It's not even
It
a
is
hidden
an
agenda, because
100%.
what we're doing is there, in everything that people say, there's the fat and then there's the meat. You gotta trim the fat and dissect the meat and eat the meat and cut out the fat. That's why, you know.
Yeah, but
I'm not
what's left is disrespectful energy.
If you're
What did he say?
Hold on.
Who did
No,
he
because
say?
even if you take it in though, like some immigrants will be coming to Canada and they'll have all these different qualifications, and you see them as like.
That's a different issue.
That's a different-
let's
that's a different
talk
issue.
about it.
No, but that dives into it. You're out here talking about, oh, you can't come here unless you work hard. Da, da, da.
Yes.
Okay, I'm coming here now and I have all these certifications, and you're telling me to do the lowest.
So you come from, let's say you come
I'm a
from
doctor.
You come from Calcutta, India. You come to Canada and say, hey,
Yeah,
you're
and I'm
not
a
a
doctor.
doctor over here,
Yeah.
my boy.
Yeah.
And they still go like, all right, I'm not a doctor. Let me be something else. I'm gonna work my ass off, figure it out. You still do the same thing. That's what you're saying.
That's it doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter what you
Shout out
want
all
to
people
do.
from Calcutta, they're
It doesn't matter
doctors
what you
too.
want to do. All you got to do at the end of the day is put in work. And
But
I
then
know
it's
you
like
brought up the issue of
no,
like.
but there's also barriers in place.
Yes.
Okay.
This ain't that, and that ain't
That
this.
is this.
Oh,
no,
okay.
we're not
Oh
doing
my
that
God.
again. We're not doing that again. We're not doing that.
Like,
There are barriers put into place
Okay.
to prevent these quote unquote unhardworking immigrants
Yes.
to like continue doing hard work, whatever.
Okay, so I ask you this: what do you think gives something value? If something's overly inclusive, would you say it's something of high value or low value? If something's inclusive,
Don't lie.
High value.
Stop it.
High value.
Stop
No,
it.
why is it high value?
Stop
Why is it high
it.
It's
value?
because I genuinely
You
care
are-
about people.
You are
It's like,
cap.
okay, how am I
You
cap?
know
How am I cap?
exclusivity
How
is
am I cap?
valuable.
Oh,
Exclusive,
shut up.
yes.
Yeah.
If too many people can get into that shit, trash.
That should try. It's tried. Think about it like that. Yeah.
Okay, it depends.
It's but I'm not saying I agree with the limits, because at the end of the day, if someone's a doctor and stuff like that, okay, I understand you might say, oh, their health practices are different,
Like gold
but it
dealer
shouldn't
and
take them to restart. Maybe they should have like a program that like accelerates like their.
That's a different
relearning stuff.
issue.
But that's
No,
a different.
that's a
no.
different issue.
How is that a different
That's
issue?
a different issue.
It is a different issue from
You-
what Doug Ford said,
Hey,
because
man,
it's
you-
incomplete.
So you guys are Doug Ford's spokesperson now.
Thank you. Yes,
Exactly.
No, that's the energy I'm getting.
No.
He's campaigning already, eh?
Hold on. What you're saying, people having difficulties getting into the field that they want to get to from a different country coming into this one, that's something
That's a
totally
different
different.
issue.
You supposed to come here regardless and work your ass off. That's what he's basically saying.
Okay, work your ass off hard. How? Because some people
What do you mean how?
No, I do get it.
Get
Like
a
I
job.
do know. I do
Put
get
an
it.
application.
You think getting a job is like
Work at Amazon, my boy.
snap of a finger?
Getting a job, okay. In today's era, getting a job is so easy. I'm tired of that.
Easy.
Tired
Maybe
of
getting a job, but not getting per job. I don't know if that's good to say, but like minimum wage is not cutting it anymore.
Okay, I understand that, but here's the thing: minimum wage isn't meant to be something you live off of. Minimum wage is meant for people who are getting themselves started,
go back up.
or young adults who are just entering the workforce. But you're not supposed to stay 20 years in minimum wage. You're not supposed to stay 25 years. It's not supposed to sustain you, because that's why it's called minimum wage, because it's minimum skills.
Oh, shut up.
No, like seriously.
Speaking of facts.
The reason why I can say this, because both of my parents, they came here with minimal skills. They had to work for minimum wage, and then what did they do? They leveled up.
Exactly.
Okay, but no.
Give me that.
No. It's easy to say they bossed up, minimum.
Man, shout out to,
not
shout out to all the hardworking immigrants that came to this country, made a family. Yo, shout out my brother.
You're not dying. I will not stand for it. Nonsense. Yo, who brought this guy on the show? No, like, who even brought this guy on the show? We already have to deal with this one.
You have a tag team partner now.
There we go.
No, bro.
Yo, we the Hardy Boys.
Listen.
I still strongly disagree with what you guys are saying, and here's the reason why.
What?
Let me explain. Because you guys,
I still strongly disagree.
let me explain why. So, as children of immigrants, yes. It's respectful. Congrats to your mother for working hard.
Congrats to your mom too.
Same thing. Congrats
to your mom too.
No. Let me explain. But there's so many. Have you ever talked to her about the challenges of all the stuff she's had to do to adapt to this?
They always say, "Yo, I came to this country with only minimal dollars, and I worked hard, and I had to get myself to here, so you wouldn't have to struggle." Exactly.
Jeff, I think your mom would agree with them, you know?
Exactly. Your mom would more than agree with, because she lived it. She did exactly what Doug's for.
She was probably working hours, bro. Like,
it wasn't easy. You know what?
Yeah.
Okay, let me explain this. So there are different types of immigrants from different situations. I think another angle of immigrants coming to this country that some immigrants don't have to relate to is the language barrier. It is a true thing. My mother came in from Vietnam, didn't know a lick of English.
Yes.
She had to balance work with raising a family with going to ESL, English Second Language.
Yeah.
And
Insane
it's
mode.
imagined. It's so hard to even imagine how difficult that process was for her. And what the comments like Doug Ford means is he's already putting those people in a bubble. Because let's be honest, politicians, their words mean something. They have every word matters. When they say something, he's sending a message, and the message that comes out of the message, what he was saying, is he's basically implying that all immigrants are coming to this country and are being lazy, and they need to all work hard.
okay, but let's take this in though.
What?
It's
So
true.
hold on. How
You're saying we're taking his
Like-
words and twisting it? That's what you're thinking?
Yeah,
Yes, you are.
100%.
No, take it at face value.
100%.
Take it at face value.
No, he's not.
No,
Take it at face value.
Sometimes you need
Take it
to
at
not
face
take
value.
things at face value.
Take it
You
at face
can't
value.
take it as face value. There's
But man,
clear
yo,
agenda.
Some things you should.
Okay,
but
so
not
what do
everything,
you think? You believe that the agenda is him saying we don't want immigrants, or what do you think his agenda is?
You
Break it
know,
down for us.
Because
No,
there is
no,
an
no, no,
agenda
we
behind
don't
what
know.
you're
There's
We
a
don't know.
Hold on. No,
We don't
you
know.
do know. Come
We
on.
don't know because we
Don't be
just
stupid.
knowing him,
we
knowing
just
him,
spent
you
10
probably
minutes.
doesn't know.
We just spent 10 minutes telling you that, yo, this is what we took it as.
You know there's a rhetoric that there is
There's always an
implies
agenda.
that every immigrant is lazy. Every immigrant is just
Like the
freeloading the
stereotype.
Canadian.
But immigrants built this country. How are immigrants lazy?
People still have that rhetoric. You know that.
How are immigrants lazy when they built
Okay,
the
but
country?
Rhetoric
Like,
is how
his
Donald Trump
point
became
is that
president.
it's still a
There is an
rhetoric.
anti-immigrant rhetoric out there.
I
can't deny that.
I disagree with that
So
sentiment.
they say immigrants
twice.
are taking jobs from Canadians. How are immigrants get lazy? People are going like, yo, immigrants taking jobs from us Canadians. How are immigrants lazy if people complain about they're taking jobs?
Tell that to the people saying immigrants are lazy.
So what is it? So are immigrants not taking their job?
Okay, so here's what you guys brought up. So I'm so glad you said that, right? So this is what's happening right now is a product of the media, right? So when you really take it, no, it is a product of the media, because take it in like this: the media, whether it's left-leaning media, right-leaning media, they have biases, right? It doesn't matter which side of the scope is. And they project a certain message, right? And they frame things in a certain way that gets us believing that certain ideologies are either normal, popularized, or being discussed, right? And they manipulate every single one of us. But no one likes to admit that they do manipulate every single one of us, and sometimes the thoughts we have aren't necessarily our own.
You know what's a really
Right?
funny thing that you brought up? It's really interesting that you bring politics into this. Let's talk about the right, for example.
Jeff is supposed to go on a tangent.
No,
What?
let me explain.
Because Doug Ford is he's a so-called conservative, but I don't call him a conservative. He's a fake conservative.
He's a fake conservative?
He's a fake conservative.
He's about that money though.
Okay. So the rhetoric of the conservatives, let's talk about Trump. Like
let's talk about Trump. Let's talk about
alt-right.
Trump. Yeah.
He has this rhetoric that immigrants are just coming to this country and being lazy. They're the one who created those narratives. On the other hand, the other parts of the conservative right, they're creating the narrative as what he's mentioned, that they're here stealing the jobs. So the right can't even agree their strong stance on immigrants. Meanwhile, the left, we're just trying to bring people in to try to make the society better. You know?
I understand what I understand what he's saying. He's basically
Imagine-
saying on the right there's dissension because they're saying, okay, we have people on the right, they're saying, maybe we kind of need immigrants, and then there's the side of the right that says
We don't need
immigrants
them.
are bad. They don't belong here. America only. But all of those are just perceptions given to you by the media, because not once has Trump said that, not once has Doug Ford said that, but because things are highly
I'm
insinuated.
pretty sure
I
Trump
think-
definitely has said that.
Yeah, and
he's a very open, truthful
Trump is by far. I am not. Don't get into it. I'm libertarian.
Shut the hell up.
I
You're
still.
not.
I hate when people say that, man.
Like,
I
you're
am.
not.
I am hella libertarian. I'm economically right. Everything else, I'm very centrist.
For the people.
Right? But what happens is like with because I don't even vote. I hate politics, but I pay attention to politics.
So you're part of the problem as well.
100%.
Son.
I don't
can't-
believe in
I
the
can't really
political.
listen to
I
no more.
don't believe in the political system.
Right, you don't even vote. You don't even-
Out loud.
How you not
How you
voting
not
about having an
voting?
opinion on politics?
No. The last time I voted was the last
you didn't-
But
last
you don't see that
election.
to be
The last
problematic?
election was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and then I knew my vote was essentially wasted, so that's why I said I'll
So-
never vote.
No,
again.
at least you
But
have
you're
an
part of the
opinion.
pro-
You can have an
Oh,
opinion.
he's actually
You can have an
making
opinion.
sense.
You can
I
have
said
an
I
opinion.
said I voted. I
You
just
said
said I'll
you
never
did.
vote again.
Oh,
You
you're
did.
saying
If
you're
you
not
didn't
voting
vote,
again.
I
Okay.
couldn't
I said I'll never vote
Oh,
again.
I thought you
in my
said
life
you never
again.
vote. Oh.
No, I voted
I thought
before.
you said you've never voted a day in your life before. That's what
Oh
I
no.
thought.
I said I'll never vote a day in my life
Okay.
again.
Oh, okay.
I can't really listen. I mean, at least you voted this time.
Yeah. But here's the reason. Here's the reason why I feel that way, because if the more access to wealth you have, is the more politics don't matter to you. If I have
It doesn't affect you. You're saying.
it doesn't affect me, because if let's say a government does something that I don't like, I could be like, all right, yo, peace, I'm out.
So I wanted to just re-clarify. The topic of Donald Trump was brought up, and the topic was brought about importance of words and why we should pay attention to Doug Ford's words. So remember when Donald Trump was talking about the election and how the election was fraud, and some of the words that he was saying wasn't directly referencing attack the government, but his words was interpreted in a certain way, and it led to what happened at the White House. And that just shows that you can't take everything for face value, because of the importance of political words are substantial in politics and the society, and that's why Doug Ford's words are dangerous, because it's pushing a narrative.
Okay, so I'll say that I'll say this much. So remember how I was mentioning earlier about the media and how they manipulate us, right? So I'm just gonna bring up something. You know what I mean? I bet I could get you guys, any of you guys here, to say, no, not me. You know what I mean? So with the media, like what we're talking about, like, it's all a narrative. So things can be taken out of context to be applied in a certain way, right? With the narrative. Although there's a strong narrative that when Donald Trump said, "Oh, I'm going to," he said, talking about election fraud, and he said, "Oh, I'll see you guys there at the White House. Come down, Patriots, and we're gonna, raise hell," or whatever, right?
nothing in what he said to go and enter the White House. Nothing of what he said said
Exactly.
to go and trash Nancy Pelosi's office. However, what was reported on, that's all that we saw. And then because of what occurred, because of what occurred, the comments were then correlated to Donald Trump, which had no effect to what he was actually saying.
There's no association.
There's
You don't
no
see
association.
Okay, now that's ridiculous.
So there was no.
There is clear association. He understands the people that he's talking to. He understands his supporters and what they believe, and obviously he understood that it is heightened times. There's obviously a lot of conversation about this. And again, this goes back to the idea that the words of a politician are important and they have meaning. Mm-hmm. And the interpretation from the Trump supporters was that this was an act of war and we need to go and do something about it. And that's how you can't control how people interpret those words.
Exactly why you need to cut the fat and consume the meat. Because
so how do you know what the fat is versus from what the meat is?
The fat is intonation, how the meat. So how things are said is the fat, and what is actually being said, like the message, is the meat. Because when someone says something, obviously they can say it a certain way, but at its core, we all interpret the message differently because of how things are said, right? But if you look at its core and understand the base root, okay, this was their point. This is what they were trying to insinuate. They're not advocating for results. This is just what they were looking to get out of it. And you leave it at that and what it is, then you can see what's truly being said. But the thing is, when you focus on the fat, you extrapolate outwards.
But then how do you really know what they're trying to say?
Because the basis of what he said was, come show support at the White House. That's all he said. But people said he's inciting violence. Meanwhile, you literally had like people like Nancy Pelosi and what's the Democrat out of California? She's an elderly black woman. I can't remember her name, but she was on camera literally saying, "Oh, if they don't get a result in the Floyd thing," she literally told protesters to raise hell and destroy things, but nothing happened. But she verbatim said, she said, destroy stuff. But we're not going around saying, oh, she meant this, she meant that, she meant this.
But anyhow,
right?
People actually did raise.
They did.
Oh yeah.
They did. They did, and nothing happened. But Trump said, "Come on, patriots, go show your support. I'll see you then at the White House." Oh my gosh, violence. Why? Because of the media, and it had effects on
so you're
all
gonna minimize
of
the
us.
actions of Trump supporters.
You're giving me colonizer
I am not.
vibes.
If you man, I've been called colonizer, white black supremacist, I've heard it all, man. I don't even care. I'm actually numb to this. But it's just like when you have to take things, you can't. Okay, and this is what I was talking about, where people believe that the media doesn't affect them. You know what I mean?
No, it does.
I'm not denying the effects of media, but the thing is, what I try to do personally is look at the entire picture, because everyone is trying to sell me an angle. That's an angle. That's an angle. That's an angle.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at it, you can see the whole picture. Right? We can see the whole picture, but we all look at our things from our individual angles, whether we're on the left, whether we're a centrist or non-registered, or we're on the right. But when you're someone who's looking at something from the whole perspective, you say, oh, you see it like this because you can't see this angle here. You see it like this because you can't see that angle there. But if you take a chance to look at the whole picture, then you can see, okay, what you were saying misconstrued. What you were saying, okay, you had an idea, but you didn't get this whole picture. Oh, you saw a good part of the picture, but you're missing this. But then we all push and say, oh, we're right. Meanwhile, no one looked at each other's perspective.
Well, I think we can all agree on that point.
That's a fair point.
That is absolutely true. And I think that we have to listen to all each other's points.
Yeah,
I think, though, that I don't think that particularly relates to the conversation, though. Because I think that's just general statement that we all agree with. Like,
Okay.
if you want to talk about the fact that the right, literally Fox News, is literally also inciting the act of violence. Literally, okay, what's the name? Sean Hannity is literally a Trump advisor. He's in Trump rallies. No, not to the level of
Yes, they.
Yeah.
But I don't
They
support
do.
CNN either.
Okay, but I'll give you an example. Let's not even talk about CNN. Let's talk about how the left controls culture. With the NBA, they're like, go vote. And then, but when they say vote, they're not saying go and vote. They're saying go vote Democrat. You know what I mean? Like when they say vote or die, they say vote Democrat or die. Like that's what they're saying. You know what I mean? So if we're gonna pretend, we can't pretend that people don't have biases. Oh, you have your favorite musician. They're saying, oh, vote Biden. All your favorite athletes, Biden. Oh, da da da. And then all of them, when actual real people are being hurt and affected by Biden.
That's true. I agree with that.
It's the same thing. They're all influencers. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's just like to avoid the influencer mindset, you can't be afraid to step out and look at the entire picture. Look at what Fox is saying. Look at what CNN's saying. Look at what an independent journalist. I say go to independent journalists first. We need more independent journalists. You know what I mean? Regardless of their stance. You know what I mean? Because most of our media, especially in Canada, bought and paid for. So a lot of people don't know that, but the reason why they all share the same rhetoric is because they're literally on the government's tax bill. Defund the CBC. I'm a firm believer in that. That is a propaganda wing. But that's another story. That's another story
That is
for another
another
day.
story. Yes.
Anyways.
But
Conversation.
different conversation. But at the end of the day, we're looking at the media and how, I personally believe it was all manipulated in a sense, especially with the stuff with Truth Social that we see going on. Like that's just another way for the left media to attack people on the right, because only people on the right it's going to be an echo chamber. Like no one is gonna really sign up for that unless you were kicked off of Twitter, Facebook, and all of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Alex Jones.
So it's just gonna look.
Alex Jones
it's,
revival.
Yeah, it's just gonna look like a cult. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's all it's gonna look like. And that's the problem with our society, where we're shoveling everyone into these different boxes, and we're saying you must fit within this box. And if you're in this box, you're my enemy. If you're in this box, you're my enemy. If you're in this box, okay, we can be friends. You know what I mean? And that's problematic because it's cult-like. That's why I don't like politics, because it's
That's why I don't
basically
follow tribalism.
it's cults, and they're basically gangbangers but with suits and ties.
Yeah,
You know what I
same.
mean?
It's my
Like,
way
Throw your hood up.
I think
fair, that's
I'm
fair,
glad that we
that's
can
fair.
wrap it up in agreement. I guess we all
Yeah,
agree with those
yeah.
points.
Well, that was a very valid point. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how he talks, because he took you guys for a
on a
ride.
journey.
You guys took you through the woods over the bridge to grandma's house, and you guys fell
not
for it.
grandma's house.
Man, shout out to my guy Joe
Wait.
Ford, man. He's out here.
You
Man,
made some,
give
you
it
made
to
some,
my boy.
you made some valid points, but they're not dapping up. Sorry about it.
All right, man. This
You guys
is
tried. You thought I wasn't gonna. Oh, okay.
I love the commitment. I can respect that.
all right, man. This has been another wonderful episode of The Echo,
lit
man.
episode.
Man, thank you for our special guest, Aaron, coming through, speaking to us about
Yes,
crypto.
thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me here. Honestly, this has been fun. You know,
probably my favorite episode.
I love what everyone had to offer here. You know, great discussion, great debate, and we all learned some things too. So
Yeah.
that's what it is at the end of the day. No one's right or wrong. We all learn something at the end of the day, right?
Exactly.
Like.
I might look into crypto though. Not even
Yeah.
gonna lie. I actually
Yes,
might look into
I might.
crypto.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
Aaron's the first person to come in here and convince these two stooges.
This guy's been trying to get us on Wealthsimple.
Wealthsimple, yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. A little bit of a side note on Wealthsimple with crypto. So before we
Oh,
wrap
goes
up
hand in
though,
hand?
so with Wealthsimple, the main problem, it's for stocks, amazing. For crypto, problematic. The reason why I say that is because they don't let you own your crypto. So technically, when you buy on Wealthsimple, you're metaphorically renting your crypto. Yeah, you get the profits of what you buy or sell, but let's say if I wanted to take my crypto off Wealthsimple and send it to, remember the ledger we were talking about?
Yeah.
You can't do that
Oh.
because they own your keys. So in crypto, we have a saying called "not your keys, not your coin." So if you can't custody it
Then it's not
yourself,
yours.
it's not yours. So that's one thing to keep in mind about Wealthsimple specifically. But for stocks, amazing. But for crypto, I would not use it. That's
So I
my
guess it's good
that's
for you.
my
You're in stocks, yeah.
But
So it's good
for
you.
stocks, sick. If for crypto, I'd recommend like the easiest app to set up and use, Newton. So-
Newton?
Yeah, like Newton.
Okay.
Easiest one
All
to
these
set up,
different things,
easiest one to
y'all are making my
use.
head hurt.
You swipe right to trade. Like it's literally it's super sick. Like
I've done
people
that a
are
lot.
familiar with swiping
I'm very
right.
familiar.
You know,
Yeah.
everyone's
Yes.
and let's be honest, everyone's familiar with swiping right.
Never swipe right. Tell you that much.
To
All right.
the left, to the left. But yeah, thank you guys once again.
Thank you for
Appreciate
coming
it
through.
for having me out here.
All right, man. That was Aaron. Where can they find you on socials, Aaron?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can find me on social. It's at the Culturepreneur. So culture with a 3 instead of an E, and then preneur at the end. And then on TikTok, it's Culturepreneur, but with the actual E there. So check me out there. I pretty much drop content on YouTube. To help teach people about different concepts on business. Motivation, and separating yourself from the crowd. In a world where everyone wants us to be average. I try to help people to kind of show them how they can free themselves and escape that kind of like
The
mental
shackles
prison.
of society.
Yeah,
Do not conform
mental
to tribalism.
shackles.
All right.
No, I agree.
All right. So, like I said, this is another great episode of the Echo with your host, Apollo P.
Kadiatu.
And Jeffrey.
And thank you for coming through, Aaron. If you like this video, make sure you like it, comment, share.
Surprise.
We're on
Podcast.
Apple. We're on Apple Podcasts.
Sheesh.
We're on Google.
Spotify.
Spotify.
On Spotify. And most definitely, if you're watching this on YouTube, we're clearly here on YouTube. Okay.
And
So,
RedTube.
Check us out.